everyone, and welcome to Redefine Family, a Spark Transformation podcast. I'm your host, Simona Spark, and our mission is to build a future where no one needs to come out anymore. Together, we can create a world where everyone has the right to love, to succeed, to have a family, and to live a full, happy life. Welcome back, everyone. Today, I'm super excited to introduce you to amazing Martin. Welcome, Martin.
Welcome, everybody. Hope you're having a great day.
I am so pleased that you say yes to this because here I am, Philly, United States, and I know for you it's super early. You're in Sydney, Australia, is that right?
Yes, it's 6 a.m. in the morning here and a beautiful day in Sydney, beautiful spring day.
All right, so this is probably a great way to start a day. As we discussed already, we want to be focusing on what's your story, what was your journey, and how is it to be an amazing gay man in your part of the world. So please do share as much as a little as you feel comfortable with.
So look, I came out late when I was 27. I should have come out earlier. I mean, my family have always been super supportive. They're very friendly. They're very tolerant of other people. But I think coming out is an individual journey. And when people, I think they kind of ask permission to come out. And I believe it should be the opposite. When people will say, it's still the same Martin, it's still the same Ben. No, you've always been that individual. When you tell somebody you're gay, are they the same person? Are they accepting you? Because 5 seconds before you said the word, I'm gay, they were the same person. And if they react differently, then it really is their problem. Don't let anybody detract from who you are as an individual.
Yeah.
And for me, I dreaded coming out, and I look back and why? Because I've only experienced homophobia a few times in my life, and I really don't care because they're not worth listening to. We have a fantastic community. We have a fantastic organisation to help everybody come together. Focus on that. Be who you are. Be strong. Be confident. That's my message.
Mm-hmm. So I like that you talk about, and this is very important, and this is like the foundation of my work, how one's coming out process, it's influenced the relationship with everybody in their life. And especially when we are talking about youth, which we want to, inspire and educate, is that it's claiming that part of your identity.
Yeah.
And as you come out to your family or to your friends, it's shifting something in their identity as well.
Yeah. It's actually sharing more of who you are with your family. Look, everybody knows you're gay, and it's up to you to come out on your own terms.
Mm-hmm.
I was never in a relationship until I met my partner a few months after coming out. We've been together 17 years.
Uh-huh.
My partner is from Africa, in a country where he's not able to be out, but my family love him. He's their son-in-law. Everybody embraces who he is. So I'm in a mixed race, same-sex relationship, but none of that matters. I'm in a relationship with the man who I love. That's all that matters.
That's right. So powerful. And may I ask you, when did you guys get married? Because the law passed just not too long ago in Australia.
Yeah, well, we went to a beautiful country in the South Pacific, and we had a commitment ceremony 10 years ago. So we decided we weren't going to wait for the laws to change. Mm-hmm. So we're not legally married, but we don't need to be because we had a fantastic ceremony 10 years ago where everybody embraced who we are. And I'm fortunate to live in a beautiful part of Sydney where 75% of my fellow citizens in Warringah voted yes. This is a very conservative area, but 75% of people said, we accept who you are. And that's the most endearing thing about my home, that I live in a very accepting community.
So good to hear. And I appreciate how you talk about acceptance, the appreciation of others accepting you, and how you accept others by respecting where they're coming from and honor that.
Acceptance also means acknowledging that not everybody's going to accept you, and you can't change everybody. You can influence those around you to make a change. And I think we've come into a society where everybody's so outraged, and we've lost the ability to disagree with somebody with respect and engage and still be friends at the end of the day. And I think that's a real shame, and hopefully we can move back to, what, you may disagree with me, but we'll find common ground somewhere, and let's all come together as a community.
Yeah, I love that. So what would you say were your bigger challenges in your adult life?
For me, my biggest challenges have been health. I was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease in 2006. shortly after being in an induced coma. I had gallstones blocking my liver. I had a procedure to try and remove some of those stones, which then caused dye to seep into my pancreas. And I was ventilated twice, placed in an induced coma, had a tracheotomy and survived all of that. Came home to Australia for surgery, had major surgery, kept going back into hospital because I wasn't recovering, and I was diagnosed with a rare disease called Addison's disease. So for me, and I've had 3 subsequent surgeries, health has always been a big thing of my life. And that's why for me, being active, having a healthy diet, going to the gym is so important to manage my health. I can't change what I have, but I can manage my condition so I can optimize and get the best value I can out of life.
Wow, I had no idea that you had such an experience. I'm so sorry that you had to go through all that. And I'm so appreciative that you shared this with us. I do know that you're an athlete and you let that experience be the driving force for your future plans.
Yeah.
Would you share with us a little bit about that?
So look, last year I approached my local martial arts centre just for a few self-defence classes. The second class happened to be boxing, and wow, it discovered me. I was always this type of person where boxing wasn't for me. My dad described me as the person who could not punch himself out of a paper bag. Then I just started having more and more lessons and just loving it. The bag drills, the pad drills, I could move my feet, I'm like, wow. And I discovered something I had an aptitude for I never thought I could do. So then the mission became, what do I do with this? And I wanted to go and compete in the Gay Games. Now, in Paris last year, they had boxing. But for the next Gay Games, boxing has been removed from the list of sports. So then my coach and I would decide, well, we've got to continue on this journey. So we've decided to create what we believe is the world's first. And we're calling it the World Gay Boxing Championships. What we want to do is to create a World Championship boxing event for the LGBTIQ community, but not exclusive to our community, where everybody can come along and participate. If you like, the Bingham Cup of the boxing world. So if you look at some of the homophobia in sports, well, Patricia Emanuel is a trans man who's competed. He's now a professional boxer. He competed in the Olympics. He won a professional match in December, even though the crowd jeered at him. You have trans boxers in New York. You have lesbian world champions. I'm sure there've been gay men who've been world champion boxers. I've found boxing incredibly inclusive and welcoming. So I want to bring the whole community along and say, hey, this sport is for you. It can help boost your confidence. It's great mental and physical effort. And I want to create a fun environment where we're going to tell the LGBTIQ community can do anything, we can box. But I want to be a bit pioneering and challenging at the same time. And I want men and all genders to be able to compete against each other in a non-combative way. So if you think about boxing, you always think about the boxing ring. But we also do pad drills, we do bag drills, we do shadow boxing. There's all the technical aspects of the sport. So I want to create a competition where we're just going to judge individuals at their technical skills, where all they're doing is competing against themselves in, say, a 1 or 2 minute round. How many times can you punch the bag, or what's your jabbing like against the pad? Judged by professional referees. That way, we're just going to have an individual technical skills champion. That's where everybody can compete against each other in a safe environment, because when you're not hitting anybody else, that's where it's safe. And that's been pioneering, because people talk about men and women not being able to compete against each other in sports. Well, they've been doing that for decades in tennis, mixed doubles.
Yes.
Now, I'm not going to go into that debate about trans athletes not being able to compete against female athletes. I don't know enough about it, but I want to start that conversation. I want to create an environment where everybody can come and participate in a safe way, while also aligning with the rules of the sport and aligning with what is actually safe for people to compete against each other. The only thing that's holding themselves back is ourselves, and I want to kind of create an environment where I can start to change it. I can't change the world. I can influence those people around me.
But this is it, and that's why it's so beautiful and powerful, because you have your own personal challenges, and through focusing on your own health, you actually discover a new passion. I like to call it in my practice superpower. So you find out a superpower, and now you get to give back to the world, like from inside out. Like, oh, other people might like this too. So let me create a space that is inclusive and safe. People will come in, enjoy, and test it out. It's an experiment. You like it, you stay. You don't like it, you leave. It's all good.
You leave.
right?
I think we spend so much time talking about inclusion and diversity. We've been talking about this for 20 plus years. Get on with it. Participate. Creating opportunities for everybody to compete. I'm creating an opportunity. Come along if it's for you. Great. If not, find something for you. Sometimes it takes a few people to step up and make those changes. Most people try to impress others. Express who you are. You will soon find your tribe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it starts with one person. Yeah. And then it's a second one. And then other people join. And before you know it, it's a mission, it's a movement, and it's taking over the world. And that's what we want to create here.
Well, people are so outraged by what Israel Folau has been saying about the LGBTIQ community getting burning in hell. Honestly, I don't care what he says. I have no interest. I'm like, don't listen to them. Focus on yourself. Because really, do you want to spend your time and energy focusing on bigots? I don't. I tell you, I would love him to come along down to my boxing club and have a conversation. Join me, some bag drills, some pad drills, and I'd say to you, I'll listen to what you have to say, but do you have the courage to listen to what I have to say? Because I will say, this is the impact you're having on my community. You have the right to free speech. We have the right to say something back. We also have the right not to listen. And for bigots, just don't listen. If you're not listening, the only voice they have is their own voice, and they won't like it, and they'll change.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I love how you said that it not only takes courage to speak, but it takes courage to listen. So powerful and so true. What we see is that these people, they're being bullied or labeled, they have more compassion. They have an understanding of, all right, you don't know what you're talking about, so let's have a conversation about it. And it has to go both ways.
If you're expressing to be passionate and caring about other people, why would you say something like that?
Yes.
What is it about you as an individual? Because when you say stuff like that, really, you're a bully. I'm not going to mince words. You're a bigot, you're a bully, and that's my right of free speech saying that back to you. And I can't change what you think or you believe.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm prepared to step up and say, you know what, you're not worth listening to. Just focus on being a better person. Don't focus on diminishing the value of other human beings, because really, that's what you're doing. It's 2019. It's unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. I love that. It's time to look at people as people.
Yeah.
And I said this a couple of times before, is how one live their life and who they are and who they love. It really doesn't affect my life.
No.
So why I get to have a opinion about it to start with, and more than that, why do I get to have a mean opinion about it? It doesn't make sense. I have the other option of being loving.
Yeah.
So, but people choose who they are. If you're loving and accepting. If you're not, you won't.
And we have to create the laws so people could feel safe and accepted.
It's interesting. It's 2 years ago since the results of the same-sex marriage vote were announced. And it was incredibly hard for my community to be validated and judged by society on the value of their relationships. But part of me is happy that we had this exercise, because we're now saying to the world, actually, you're in the minority. If you're against same-sex marriage, you're in the minority. We've had this debate. Australia has said yes. You have the right to your views. We're talking about religious freedoms. You have the right to your freedoms. That doesn't give you the right to discriminate against somebody else. Why are your freedoms worth more than my freedoms? And I'm afraid that's the battle we're having in Australia. It seems to be that if you're a person who believes in X, your rights are more than somebody else who disagrees with you. But I love that the Australian community, this loving, welcoming, beautiful society, came together and said, you know what, it was 2017, just get on with it and do it. We've said yes. And if people want to change it, they've got to go back to the public again. And I can tell you, when you've already voted wanting something, if somebody wants to change it again, that 62% will be 80%. The vocal minority need to understand that they're in the minority, and while their views are respected, at the same time, stop trying to impact our lives. We've been having it for too long. It's 2019. Come and join us, embrace us with who we are.
Yes.
Seems like a lot of people were
focusing on labels instead of what we are talking about here. We are talking about marriage between two people.
Yeah.
So there is no need to say gay marriage. It's a marriage.
It's a marriage, yeah.
Like, can we just call it marriage? Those people
love each other, they have real estate together, they have kids together, they have whatever, insurances and all that.
Yeah.
And because they cannot get married, they don't have access to the same benefits that a society provides for every individual.
And you're happy for me as a taxpayer to go and pay all the services, because we pay a lot of tax, we work hard, we give to the community, yet you want me to subsidise your lifestyle, and at the same time you're saying no to me. I'm sorry, equality is a two-way street.
Yeah.
If you have the right to get married, and that thing about, not baking a cake for a gay wedding in America, well, wait a minute, if you're judging people by the standards of the Bible, are you going to refuse to bake a cake for people who are divorced, who have had sex before marriage, who have sinned? Because if you're holding my community to a high standard, make sure you meet your same high standards. If not, you're just a hypocrite. And that's what part of my thing in the gay, but I'm going to call this out, because you're going to judge me, you're going to judge my community. At the same time, we're going to highlight, well, wait, your inconsistencies, because it's all about coming together. Mardi Gras is so fantastic in Sydney because everybody comes together and enjoys the festival and the spirit. It's more than a pride march, it's a community event. I've marched for the last 3 years, and in the group I march with, I recruited 4 straight people. A couple in their 60s came along and they wanted to come and participate. It was absolutely fantastic.
I love that. Bringing the two communities together. That's what inclusion is, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is. When it's coming to living life, we all live the life the same. We are happy the same. We experience pain the same. We experience sickness the same. We experience love the same, right?
I sometimes think, don't be a victim. Just get on and enjoy your life. Don't let others invalidate who you are as a person, who you are as a human being. Just find a different tribe, find a different group. If you're always wanting to impress others and allow their opinions to affect you, it's a bad road to go on. Just find different friends, find a different group, find a different church, find a different community. Because if they can't accept who you are, they're not really worth listening to.
Yes. And all that sounds great. And I could see how an adult has the tools to do all this. But what can you say to a preteen teen that they're afraid of coming out and they don't have the age or the finance to find a different family and find a different church and find a different city,
So look, my first thing is make sure you're safe. You know your family, your community. So whatever it is, make sure you're safe. Be careful who you tell. Now, if you have close friends, if you have they never had things like the Gay Straight Alliance when I was at school. If you have different groups that you can go along. But also believe in who you are. This is who you are. Don't let anybody change. On the safety announcements on the planes, it talks about the oxygen mask. Put your own mask on first before you help others. Put yourself first. That's the first thing. Don't let your life be defined on being accepted by your family or your community. Then if you have the opportunity to, move to a bigger city, find the job, find a way of supporting yourself. I mean, university was a great environment to come out for many people now. And look, I hear the young kids, they're coming out at such a younger age. So I'm hoping it's much easier for people. Be alert to what's going on, but don't be over alert to what's happening, because you may see on social media a group saying this, a group saying that, but the internet isn't real life. The internet is just a group of people. Real life is your friends, your family, your community. And if the friends are being homophobic, find a different group of friends. When people realise you don't really care what they think, that they'll also move along to somebody else.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much for that, for reminding us that not everything that we see on internet is true. And I would like to connect that with what you said at the beginning, that everybody has their own journey. Each person have their own time when they're coming out and how to do it and to who. So that being said, there is no precise advice for someone. Stress when you say just believe in yourself and don't let other people's opinion to define who you are. You are who you are.
So I delayed coming out because I was scared of the reaction of other people. But really, I should never have been scared. It was fine. I came out in 2002. And, I probably could have come out years before. It would have been fine. But that was part of my own validation to work out, yes, I am gay. So first of all, when you decide for yourself, this is who you are. That's the most important thing. Others may suspect, other people may tell you, but it's up to you to decide. You're gay, you're a lesbian, you're trans, whatever it is, that's up for you to decide, nobody else. And once you've done that, it's then up to you to decide who you're going to tell, how you're going to tell, when you're going to tell. When you're ready, you're ready. Yeah. I think there's no time. You can be 95, you can be 19. It will be fine.
Mm-hmm. I love that you insist on decide when you decide, and it's your decision, and that's very important. I really want, especially the young audience, to hear that it's your decision, period.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So really, in many ways, society has moved forward. In many ways, it hasn't. But don't let the vocal minority affect who you are. Yeah. It's actually the majority are with you, and that's who you need to be with. And let's isolate the bigots. Let's put them all together, and they can have their own little community where can they be hateful because all they'll have is themselves. Whereas we have the wonderful society, traveling. I've met so many great friends. I've got so many LGBTIQ brothers and sisters all over the world. That's really what matters. The community, the family, the friendships.
And we have so much validation now because we are living amazing times. Like we have laws around the world. So as you say, like we look where majority is and stick with that.
Yeah. The majority are tolerant, compassionate, accepting people. Remember that, and don't worry about the bigots. Just be who you are.
Yes, wonderful. What a great way to close our conversation today. I really appreciate for getting up super early to be here with us. Yeah. And can't wait to have you back to learn more about your mission.
That'll be fantastic. Very much looking forward to it, and I've really enjoyed our chat this morning.
Thank you so much, Martin.
You're welcome. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to Redefine Family, a Spark Transformation podcast. We invite you to share your story, knowing that your story could change someone's life. Feel free to spread the love by sharing our message with others. We always like to hear from you at spark@redefinefamily.com. Always remember that you are the spark in your life. Just shine bright.